sixth day today, and it is escalating with each passing day. Overnight, Israel sent another barrage of fighter jets to hit Iran, both in the capital Tehran as well as in the western parts. Israel's stated objective is to try and decapitate Iran's nuclear program. But is that easier said than done? In fact, the International Atomic Energy Agency has confirmed that one of the biggest enriching facilities that Iran has in Natanz, in the southern deserts, the Natanz enrichment site is severely damaged, maybe even permanently pushed back from that enriching capacity. But the biggest one is in Fordo, which is buried deep inside a mountain. And the only way that can be permanently decapitated is if America gets involved in this war. And that is the second big threat. Trump has warned Iran's leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, to surrender unconditionally. Yesterday, as he left the G7, he issued a stark warning to everyone in Tehran, saying they should leave immediately. The United States is sending more aircraft carrier groups, as well as more shipping fleets towards the Gulf of Persia in a bid to try and get Iran to surrender. But Iran doesn't seem to be in any such mood. Today, the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei addressed the nation and he asked America to back off. He, in fact, gave a history lesson saying the Iranian people have never surrendered on the back of Western aggression. He has asked both Iran and Israel to back off. Now, it boils down to a fundamental question. The objective with which Israel launched this offensive last Friday, was to try and push back Iran's nuclear program because Israel believed that Iran was within days of acquiring a nuclear weapon. But now, has that objective also changed to the elimination of the supreme political and religious theocratic leadership of Iran? When will that objective be met? Will that objective at all be met? And most importantly, when will this war end? I'll be joined by a very, very special guest who will be joining me in a moment, the sitting Foreign Minister of Israel. But first, let me bring you up to speed with what has been happening, the latest in this ongoing situation between Israel and Iran. Just hours after Israel claimed that its operations could lead to a regime change in Iran, the United States voiced its support and called for Iran's unconditional surrender. Iran, in response, has announced that the battle has just begun and one can expect a strong response soon. This was part of the messaging from Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Israel continues to claim that Khamenei's death would end the conflict and not escalate it. That was a position first taken by Netanyahu a couple of days ago. The United States, meanwhile, has announced total and complete control over the skies above Iran, which basically means that they can fly fighter jets or drones or any other aerial vehicle through the skies of Iran without it being intercepted by Iranian air defenses. Iran, nonetheless, is still digging its heels in, saying that the Zionists will not be shown any mercy. Israel alleges that the very people of Iran want to throw out this theological regime, the theological thugs out. That is Israel's claim. The United States, on the other hand, has backed Israel's claim on Khamenei, saying that they are aware where the supreme leader is taking shelter at, but Iran says it won't be the one that is going to surrender. Following his early exit from the G7 in Kananaskis in Canada and Alberta, and of course some of the social media posts that he put out, Donald Trump has been claiming that something bigger than ceasefire is being worked upon. Now, what could that be? He was asked on board Air Force One and he said, I want an end. Not just a ceasefire, but I want an end to the war. It seems that the United States is finally left with no choice but to get its hands dirty, to get involved in this war, even though that is against Trump's political instincts. The U.S. aircraft carrier USS Nimitz is headed towards the Middle East. It's been moving from Southeast Asia to the Middle East. U.S. fighter jets have begun patrolling the Middle East in an attempt to protect American air bases there. America has dozens of air bases in the Middle East. It has about 40,000 U.S. troops currently stationed in different countries in the Middle East. U.S. fighter jets have also left a base in eastern England, again moving in the direction of the Middle East. 36 aerial refueling aircraft have also been diverted from Europe towards the Middle East, all sort of laying the ground, if you will, for the United States to get involved in this war. So is this an attempt by the US to protect its military interests in the area? And like I said, it has tens of bases there, 40,000 troops. Or is this a bid to try and back Israel and to try and protect Israel by essentially eliminating Iran's nuclear threat? The United States holds the largest military base in the region. It houses 10,000 personnel, jets, drones, and a lot more. This is at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The Camp Arif Jan, which is in Kuwait, holds about 13,000 troops. It's the second largest U.S. military base in the region. There's naval support activity in Bahrain, which houses the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, and approximately about 9,000 personnel. The Al Dhafta Air Base in the UAE hosts fighter jets like the F-22 Raptor. It also houses surveillance planes and drones. The Erbil Air Base in Iraq is used for air operations as well. So the U.S. has a number of air bases as well as military stations there in the Middle East, as well as thousands of personnel. Now, with the situation escalating with every passing moment, the focus is now shifted to troop mobilization. However, one cannot overlook the threat that Iran poses. For one, Iran is the patron saint of the various terror groups across the region, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's Hamas, a Shia Islamist militant group that is behind the attacks that we're seeing in the wider region, whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Iraq, or even in mainland Israel. It continues to back Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. These are Sunni Islamist groups that target Israel and its Western allies. The Al-Quds Force exports terror via proxy militia like the Kataib Hezbollah and the Houthis, who have been a real pain when it comes to the shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Iran even backed the Taliban during the U.S. operations against Afghanistan through the 20-year war on terror. It also harbored al-Qaeda leaders, including Saif al-Adl and Osama bin Laden's family members, at the time when this war on terror was going on between 2001 and 2021. All right, I want to go across to a very special guest who's joining us. He's at the front and center of what is happening, the situation between Israel and Iran. The Foreign Minister, the Honorable Foreign Minister of Israel, is now joining us, Mr. Gideon Sa'ar. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First things first, please help our viewers understand what is Israel's ultimate objective in this war, which is now into its 6th day. Is it to end the Iranian regime, or is it to completely finish off Iran's uranium enrichment program?
Our aim is to remove a double existential threat. The threat is, of course, the Iranian nuclear program, which came very close to nuclear weapons, which, of course, we cannot allow to happen because this country is openly and publicly declare it want to destroy, it want to eliminate the state of Israel, and it also taking steps in that context. So this is simply impossible. And the second threat is ballistic missile program, which is already in huge numbers, but they have an intention to have a mass production, to have in a very short time 10,000 ballistic missiles. For a small country like Israel, it will be unbearable. So we went out and we took this historic decision as a last resort in the last minute in order to save ourselves from the risk of elimination. And this is what we had no choice but to do. We didn't put as an objective the change in the regime. We put as the objective the remove of the threats. And the issue of the regime can be a result, but it's not an objective. It's totally in the hands of the people in Iran.
Before you started this mission, what was the assessment given to you by your intelligence community as to how soon they believed Iran would procure a nuclear weapon? Because the American intel seems to suggest that it would have taken Iran perhaps years to procure a nuclear weapon.
No, that's not right. First of all, in terms of the enrichment, they are very advanced. They have enough materials for 9 atomic bombs before we started this operation. In terms of weaponization, they already also began to make a progress. And we thought that it might be an issue of 6 months, maybe less than that, until they can have a nuclear bomb. You always must take into consideration the fact that you cannot know everything. And this is very risky when you are at that point. After we saw that negotiations hadn't brought any results, after we saw that the IAEA report was clear that they are breaching their commitments, after the IAEA declared and stated that they are in a state of non-compliance, there was no reason to just to sit and wait that they will have atomic bombs. That would be a crucial mistake. So we acted in the right time. Maybe we acted too late, but we surely didn't act too early.
What do you want the role of the United States to be in this war between Israel and Iran? President Trump put out on social media some hours ago asking for unconditional surrender of the Iranians and the Iranian leader in particular. The Iranian leader has now responded. He has spoken in a televised address to the nation, and he said there's no question of surrendering.
First of all, the objective of the American administration is similar. They said very clearly that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They said that they are against Iranian enrichment. In context of what America will do, it's an American decision. We are not speaking on behalf of the US. We, as Israel, will do our utmost to prevent it. I can tell you that already what we did delayed this threat for a significant time. And we are only, I can only say that we are thankful for America in what they are doing in helping in defense. Other decision will be taken by President Trump.
What about the reports of mass casualties to civilians, not just in Iran, where the ministry there says more than 200 have died, but even in Israel, Israeli citizens, last time I checked, more than 24 had died.
We have casualties. You know why we have casualties? Because Iran, this criminal regime of Iran, is specifically targeting civilian population centers. They are killing children and old people deliberately. Today I was in a city called Bat Yam. There is no military facilities there. They just shooting at civilians. We are targeting objectives, targets of nuclear program, of the missiles program, military installations, and so on. It happens that there is a collateral damage, but it is very small. We are doing our maximum that there won't be a collateral damage. But the difference is that they are targeting civilians, and they are making mistake because they think it might influence the will of the Israeli people. I can tell you that the will of the Israeli people is they are strongly support this operation. Also, the opposition in Israel supporting this operation. So they will not be able to be successful with that criminal strategy.
What is the end point of this war? The Prime Minister was asked about it a couple of days ago, and he said if the leader of Iran were to be killed, that would be the end of the conflict. And you just said a moment ago that that's not an objective of your campaign. I want to know, when will this war end? What has to be achieved for this war to end?
I'll explain it. First of all, I said that the removal of this regime is not an objective we design. Our objectives are connected to their elimination plan, to their nuclear program, to their missiles program. And we have a very detailed plan. We worked very hard for a long time. We know what we want to hit, and it will be achieved when we will finish the mission, when we will finish the job. And the result will be that we are removing this double existential threat, as I said, and we will know exactly when it will happen. We don't have an intention to have an open-ended war, but we will act until we will achieve our goals. We will not stop before that.
Okay, and one final question, Mr. Minister. How do you see India's position in this war? India has called for both sides to de-escalate, as is much of the rest of the world, concerned about just how escalatory this has already turned in the last 6 days.
I had a very good conversation with my colleague Jan Shankar, and also the Prime Minister had a very good conversation with Prime Minister Modi. I cannot speak on behalf of the government of India, but I can tell you that India's traditional policy is to support stability. And stability will be achieved only when this radical axis will be defeated in the region. And maybe we are not very far from there. And then India, I think, in the future of the region is a very important partner to a prosper Middle East, to the economy, with the idea of connectivity from Asia to Europe through our region. And we believe that we will be partners in shaping a better world and better region after this conflict will be over.
All right, Mr. Gideon Sa'ar, the Foreign Minister of Israel, thank you very much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Thank you.
He has survived 2 assassination attempts, seen his closest aides get killed, weathered a series of challenges. But Israel's unprecedented strikes on Iran could be the most serious crisis yet for the country's supreme leader. 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is ailing. He is increasingly isolated after a string of targeted Israeli airstrikes decimated his inner circle. Speculation over a successor is rife. Khamenei's own survival and that of the clerical system he heads is at stake. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has spent almost 4 decades as Iran's supreme leader, building a regional power to rival the Sunni states across the Gulf. He has been hostile to the US and to Israel.
رژیم صهیونیستی اشتباه بزرگی کرد. خطای بزرگی کرد.